What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Business Breakthrough. Awesome business breakthrough with Tyler of Empire Painting. Really dove deep into what he has created up until this point, always going back into the foundation, but even giving him a strategy on sales to optimize his time, to close more deals. So this is a great business breakthrough. I think you're going to love it, and it starts right now. Contractors all over the world are wanting more time, more freedom, more impact. The way we do this is through implementing systems, processes, standards. Welcome to the Contractor Secrets Podcast. Here we hit business strategy, coaching, mindset, motivation, the tools you need for success. So strap in, listen up, and get ready to grow on the Contractor Secrets Podcast. Well, welcome, man. So you signed up with Dripjobs. We had a little chat about just having a conversation about your growth in business, man. It seems like you're on a high-speed chase, man. I know you met with my good buddies, Nick and Jason up there. I think you went to a masterclass with them, right?
Yeah, yep, in Denver.
Okay.
Highly suggest that to everyone too. That's what set me on the traction, and kind of, getting exposed to you as well through the videos, and even you saying, hey, go check out the PCA. So it's kind of a combination of all you guys.
Oh, nice, dude. So, well, yeah, let's talk about it, man. I want to see, let's talk about first, what is an area in your business that's going really well? And then what's an area in your business that you're really wanting to refine, maybe, get a little insight on?
I feel like so really well, I'd say just starting to get my vision traction organizer and getting that going with the book traction, and really getting on a game plan for the business.
Sure.
Kind of talking about some of the values and implementing some of that stuff with my employees, which are also all subs, but they're willing to do that stuff.
That's great.
Which is fantastic.
It's rare.
Yeah, and I'm taking it slow. I don't want to overwhelm them, but I've got great guys, and I've retained those guys over the past year, and that's the most important thing to me, is just that I still have them. I can still support them, and now just fine tuning the other odds and ends.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. So you're starting to begin the process of building out a culture. How many subs do you have?
I've had 4 all summer long, and
do they
then
work
at
alone,
one point
do they work alone, or are these individual units?
Individual, work alone. I'm sorry. Yep.
No, but
Work alone guys.
Staff them. You can staff them a couple. You can have a couple jobs going on at once with these guys, right?
Yeah. Yep. And then I can also mix and match them. I can throw them all on one thing, or I can slide them around. It's kind of like playing chess a little bit, which is nice.
Hey, dude, that's exactly how it is, man. I actually do that with personality types, dude. I try to gauge the type of customer I'm working with, and it's pretty easy to do that. Believe it or not, it doesn't really take much effort. You're like, this person's going to be a stickler, or this person's pretty laid back, right? And then assigning a certain project manager to that job is definitely something I do often. What is that area in your business you're wanting to zero in on, man? What's something that you feel like, I wouldn't say struggling, but maybe you just want a little more clarity on?
For me, it's my books, and getting my books straightened out, because I've had so much, I've had all these roles. As any business owner knows, you get into it and it's you wear 7 different hats, right? I'm not going to go through all of them, but
way more than 7.
Yeah, way more than that. I'm being modest for sure, but I'd say for me, it's just getting down to the nuts and bolts of the foundation of the business. And I wasn't job costing. Now with the PCA, I am. So it's okay, what is
how's that feel? How's it feel to get some job costing done?
It's feeling good. It's I have a better gauge on these,
Isn't it interesting to know that you've went so long without actually figuring out exactly how much you're making?
Yeah. And that's the sole thing for me, is okay, what is my profit percentage? I'm still at that point where, if Jason Paris came in and asked me all of his series of questions, I'd be caught with my pants down. So my goal is to really get to that point where I've got all this foundation. I have my numbers. I understand the statistics of my business, because through Nick and Jason, the biggest thing I took away is there is no truth to your business as a business owner until you know your statistics. And that was huge for me. Like,
Yeah.
so that's where I'm struggling the most, focusing my most time. And like, I've got, you know, a window of a month or two that I want to have it a really good gauge on that. So I've
Well, let
got
me
the
ask you a
bookkeeper
question.
coming in next
How
week.
how long have you been in business?
About a year and 2 months.
Okay. Have you hired an accountant yet?
No,
Okay. Have you hired a bookkeeper?
nope.
All right. So the good news is that they can retroactively do your books for you. You know,
Okay.
here's the thing, and this, I'm assuming this is your first time owning a business, like it was for me, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And I do
So
have a bookkeeper scheduled next week. So I am kind of on that. So someone
okay.
that's gonna kind of retroactively go through
Good.
that stuff.
Perfect. Yeah. So I mean, well, do you know the difference between a bookkeeper and accountant?
No.
They're different. A bookkeeper is gonna their job is to keep your books, right? What they do is they look at all your transactions and they organize them. So at the end of the year, when your accountant gets that information, they plug that into the puzzle and they present you with tax returns and they send tax returns to the IRS, right? Or the tax information. So it's two different services. Some do both. You know, so when you're interviewing bookkeepers, you want to make sure that they do both. You don't want to have to hire a bookkeeper and then hire an accountant, you know. So that's good to know, you know, as you search for this, you know,
Okay.
person. Well, that's good. So you started the process of that. What about payroll? What does your payroll system look like?
So for one, I use QuickBooks to like manage the time, you know, and know exactly like the
Sure.
hours and stuff like that. But as far as like the payroll system, you know, Friday comes along and then I go into my QuickBooks, look over the hours, and I'm cutting checks.
Okay.
Thing.
So really great program. I don't know if you've heard me talk about it. It's called Gusto. And
So,
what that'll allow you to do is it'll allow you to onboard your subcontractors. It'll categorize them as subcontractors. It'll create the proper paperwork for them. And essentially you could just cut it straight from Gusto and they'll get direct deposit. Excuse me. The beauty of that is it's another system in place that makes your life easy, right? I mean, think about it.
yeah,
How stressful is it going to the office, figuring out all the hours, getting the checks, writing all the checks, running to each job, delivering the checks, or having them come meet you? It's a headache. You know, direct
yeah.
deposit and easy payroll, it's worth it. So, I mean, you should only have to pay like $50 a month for this,
Okay.
and it's great. Best, probably besides Dripjobs, that's my favorite software, Gusto. So that's
Okay.
really neat. Yeah. So I can send you a link to that, and you get a gift card if you click my link.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
okay. So that's cool. So Gusto, and what's the beauty of that is that your bookkeeper is going to get access to Gusto, and that's just going to make everything really smooth for you on the book side. You know, so all that's easy, you know. And in terms of you being a business owner, you know, like, I don't know, do you own a house yet or no?
Not yet.
Okay.
Looking hopefully next year sometime, but we'll
All
see.
right, good. Well, here's the deal. In order to get a house as a business owner, you need 2 full years of tax returns. So investing in a bookkeeper and accountant now is smart, because what they're going to do is they're going to do your taxes for 2021, and then you'll have taxes for 2022. And then that'll be enough for you to actually get a mortgage, you know. So that's how that works. So, you know, I just want to make a note. Anyone listening, you're not going to get a mortgage without doing this. Um,
Yeah.
so
I,
good on you for doing that. So
I'm
what about,
fortunate. I got a fiance that's got amazing credit, and she's really been really good with her financials. So
perfect?
we're kind of going through her for now, and because we don't need a
Yeah.
big house, you know. So
Yeah. No, it's good though for you. Just, you know, if anything comes up, you at least have something to present to a loan officer of like, hey, you
absolutely.
know, you never know. So that's cool. So what about the sales side, marketing, anything on there? I mean, are you pretty zeroed in? How are you getting your jobs?
I'd say that's one of my strengths too. I'm pretty zeroed in, so I've learned how to zone in my own ads to customer demographics, interests, you know, and I'm talking more Facebook right now for like Facebook ads.
Sure.
But I run Facebook ads, I run Google ads, and then I do a lot of organic marketing.
Yeah.
And and word of mouth, stuff like that, but like utilizing Facebook for what I call organic, which, reels and videos and
Yeah.
pictures, and but also, zoning in on the people and the friends that I invite, and knowing that, they're riding around in boats, they have homes on the lakes here, and they're the clientele that I want. So um but yeah, that's
How's
something
that?
I'd like to share at some point with the PCA or with you
Yeah.
guys, but
Yeah.
like
You've
my
been
strategy is
generating
for
your
the
own
organic.
leads. That's great.
Yeah.
I
And it
think everybody,
saves a
I'll
ton of
be
money.
honest, man. I think, with the resources we have, I think everybody should figure out how to run their own ads and generate their own leads. And there's a certain threshold of like how much, that's, how much of a benefit that is until you can afford some help, or maybe if you want like to
Exactly.
make it exponential, but that's a good skill, man. So that's good. So you've been generating your own leads on Facebook. Um, in terms of sales, how's that been going?
It's been going really well. I'd still say that maybe my sales percentage is a little high, but but I want to look at all of my profit margins as I'm going through
Yeah.
old jobs too and job
Yeah.
costs, and go, am I hitting that profit margin? If I am and
Yeah.
I'm in that sales range, then that's great. But my guess is I'm probably not charging enough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. When you do an interior estimate, like you do residential jobs, right?
yeah, and I'm pretty
Yeah.
much focused in on residential repaints, and that's kind of what I focus
Yeah.
myself on. And I'm now starting to get in with builders a little bit, but
What
I've
i-
been
what
really
is
loving
your
the
what is your
process.
like, let's say I invite you over to a full house repaint interior. What is your estimating process?
Uh, Full house repaint, interior, come in, get the scope through the customer, address some concerns, try and find some things that they might not be thinking of, and address them and bring them up and offer a solution immediately, so they know that, we're a professional and we understand and we're thinking even more detailed than maybe they are. Um, and then talking about the products, the substrates, making sure that the substrates are proper for the paint that we're using. And that goes a long way, I think, but
Yeah.
then I jump in and I get out my measurement. There's some things, if it's I try to do, I try to even gauge even my time. I'm trying to stop going so much until I have salespeople,
Right.
stop going to jobs that it's like a 1 room or 2 room. Now in the winter in my area, yeah, I'll be on going to that to just keep guys busy and keep my production rolling. But right now I'm kind of like, I get their info and then I check the house and go, okay, how big is it, and all that, and where is it? Is it on the water? Is it in a good location? And but really just gauging that. So like for the full house, so I'll eyeball and do some timing on that. Sometimes I'll bring out the laser, but generally full house repaint, bring out the laser. I'll measure the ceilings and get my ceiling, and which is also our floor square footage, so I get the ceiling square footage or paintable surface, right? And then I'll do walls, same thing, paintable surface with the walls. And then I'll measure trim with the laser just on baseboards. But like when I get to door jambs and things like that, door jambs or windows, I count those separately.
Yeah.
And then indoors as well. But then I
You
kind of
are you
have
are you presenting pricing on the spot?
not currently, but it's something that after the PCA, I wanted to hold myself more accountable to, and I do want to get to the point of that competitive advantage of having, getting in my vehicle on the spot and just
Yeah.
sending it out, type of thing.
Especially with full house like repaints, like, and I get it. I think you're doing it off of production rates, kind of.
Yeah. Yep.
That's taking a while, right? You're in the house measuring for like a good 30, 40 minutes.
Oh yeah, and if it's a 3,000 or more, or somewhere generally 3,000 square foot house, I mean, I'm definitely in there for an hour and a half, you know.
Do you I want to talk about that because I'm and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that production rates have their place, especially if you're trying to create a consistent system for someone else to take over that role and to make it to where they can't make an estimating mistake because you've outlined exactly, what each area costs, right? But, I'm passionate about spending that time with the customer rather than my tape measure. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like for me, like I think that if you went to an estimate and I went to an estimate, I think we're going to arrive at the same number, but I'm going to do it in 15 minutes and you're spending an hour and a half.
Right.
And in my 15 minutes, I'm just coming up with a number, and then I'm going back into the house with the customer and spending the rest of the time building a relationship, very relaxed, and then trying to come to an agreement on price. And I think that I'm not saying that you're doing anything wrong. I'm just saying when you hit the switch in terms of growth, you're going
Yeah.
to get to a point where you're going to need to capitalize on opportunity more so than ever, right? Like you might not have the luxury to just like wait for jobs to be accepted. Now on the commercial side, you don't have, it doesn't really matter because they don't really care. Like they're just like, yeah, email it to me, you know?
Yeah.
Are you interested in hearing about how I would do an interior estimate?
Absolutely.
Um, so an interior estimate for me would be like, all right, let's say we arrive at a 3,000 square foot house, right? And first thing you need to do is because you need to identify which sub team that you're going to assign the job to, right? Because each one of them does work differently. Is that true?
Yeah. Yep.
So you would know like, hey, like maybe this is, Mario's team. And I think the first thing and the most important thing for you to identify is how long do you think it would take this team to do this project, right? And then, that's the first thing that I think of whenever I go to a job is like, okay, I have a team of 4 or a team of 3 now, but let's say I have a team of 4 and I look at this 3,000 square foot house. I get the scope. They want, let's say they want everything. Most people want everything, or maybe they'll just omit the ceiling, but let's say they want everything: ceiling, walls, trim. Maybe there's trim around the windows, doors. I would look at a 3,000 square foot house and say, okay, well, this has a lot of trim. This is going to take a little bit of time. So I'd say like 7 days, right? 4 guys, 7 days. Couldn't you arrive at that same conclusion though with one of your subcontractor crews, like 7 days?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like we
Definitely.
would look at it on a daily basis, right? So then the only difference between me and you is that I know what I'm paying my guys for 7 days. That's a fact. I know it's a fixed amount of money. How do
Sure.
you determine what your subs are going to charge you? Do you guys have money or numbers assigned to certain, like, how does that work?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, they have a hourly wages for that. So it's not like a percentage type of thing. But I also now I like make so before a job, like I'll make what I call a jump sheet that says, day 1, prep floors, caulk, everything. Day
Right.
2, paint the trim. Day 3, paint the walls, clean up, get out, or whatever. But like that way there's a little bit of a gauge there for what my expectations are in timing.
Yeah.
And then what I say is like, if you meet this goal, there will be bonus for you. You know what I mean?
So so you essentially, like, they trust you in a sense of like what it is that you assign to the job, right? Like it's like, all right, you're paying this, and chances are they'll do it, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, like it's not like I have like a fixed number for them.
Yeah.
Like I'm really relying on myself to be right on there, because
Yeah.
otherwise then
Well,
they don't get paid bonus, and also I'm not
sure.
getting my profit margin.
Sure. So interestingly enough, like, I think you can use a standard, hourly rate of what it would be for employees and kind of use that as a baseline, and if you look at it, you would say, okay, well, let's say you're paying 4 employees $20 an hour, and let's say it takes them 7 days, right? So you would have, a little calculator, and you'd say, okay, well, that's $80 an hour for 4 employees. That's 8 hours a day. So that's $640 a day. And you multiply that by 7. So you would say that that's $4,400 to pay 4 painters for 7 days, right? And then that's your labor cost, right? So in seconds, I'm able to come up with a fair labor cost, right? And we're just using this as just to come up with a number to see what we would charge for this job, right? So now we got to figure out paint. If you were to tell me, the business, right? You
Yeah.
got 3,000 square feet, ceiling, walls, all the trim, and all the doors. How much would you charge? How many gallons do you think you'd use?
Depending on the substrate, right? Like, but let's
Let's
just
say
say
it's
it's pretty
orange
pretty
peel
regular
texture,
drywall.
pretty standard, right?
Sure. Then probably, I mean, you're thinking probably 15, 20 gallons on walls, and then
Yep.
probably 50, about the maybe closer to 15 for the ceiling, and
Okay,
then
so
trim.
35 plus maybe 5 to 10 on the trim, 45 gallons, right?
And probably 5 to 7 maybe, or
Yeah,
actually we'll say 5, or I'd say more like 7 to 10 for the trim
7 to
maybe.
10. Okay.
Just depend. I
So
guess just depends.
let's just say, honestly, let's go crazy and say 50 gallons of paint, right?
Sure.
Like it's a lot of paint, big house, right? 50. And I'm sure you do a lot of those on the lake, right? Well, let's say you're
Yeah.
getting the paint for $35 a gallon on average. So that's 1750. So if we add that to our 4480, the cost for your company to get this job done from start to finish is 6230. Okay. Now, whether I do production rates or not, I figured out what it's going to cost me as a business owner. Okay. Right there. And we've done that in a few minutes. Okay. This is how I've estimated all of my jobs as a business owner. Okay. And I'm not saying my estimating process is the best, but I'm not really trying to estimate. I'm trying to sell. And when I sell, the customer doesn't care how I arrived at the number. They don't. You know that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
most of them don't question every little thing like a GC would or like a commercial customer would, right? The customer is emotional. They care more about Tyler. And if like you go in there and you're building trust, you're building, you're building rapport, you're building, all of these different things, intangibles that people go, I want that guy. So we've both arrived at the same number here. But here's the deal. All right. Now, if you look at this number, 6230, okay, what would you charge to do the job off the top of your head if you know that it costs you about $6,200?
Probably around
Around 9.
9,000 probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're starting at 9, I want you to know that you're starting off at about a 30% gross profit. Okay. If that's off the bat, right? But watch,
Yep.
look what we're going to do. We're just going to multiply that number by 2, and that comes out to 12,460. Okay. Because when we multiply our cost by 2, that is a 50% profit margin, gross profit margin, right?
Okay.
So that's your starting point in the painting business is 50% gross profit. Okay. So again, let's say that we identify how long it's going to take and we assign an hourly rate to our crew, right? And in this case, we said what? It was $80 an hour of what it would cost to get this crew on schedule. Okay. And let's say we sell this job, we know that we're going to pay the team $4,480 to get it done. And we're going to supply all the paint at $1,700, right? Now, here's the cool part, Tyler. And this is why this is good. Okay. Because I'm sure there's some opportunities that fall by the wayside, right? You get a nice lake house, you quote it accordingly, and you never hear from them again. Does that happen?
Oh, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
there's jobs where you're like, man, I wanted that one, right? And if you've done, and this is my theory, this is what I teach, this is what I believe. If you've done everything right, now you have a great software, nurturing them, making them feel like you're way super professional, right? And then you go there and do a nice presentation and you have their best interest in mind. And you know that you're going to do a great job. You're going to take care of their pets when they're there and the plants and all that stuff. And they say no to you. The only thing stopping them must be what?
Money, probably.
Money, the price.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that if we do estimating this way, we know that we're at a 50% margin, right? We know that if we're going to go in at 12.9 or whatever that is, right? Well, when we sell on the spot, you and I both know that you could sell it for 9. And that would still be 30% and you still get a job. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
You see that there's a variance there. There's a variance between what you're really willing to sell it for, right? And what they want to pay. And the idea behind this estimating process, especially for you up north, because you need to capitalize on these interiors. The more interiors you have, the easier your winter is, right?
Yeah,
exactly. And
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So instead of spending all that time measuring and estimating, and lasering, and like all this stuff. Really, what we need to do is we need to just find our starting point, and we need to find our number that we're not willing to go under. Right. So when
Right.
we spend our time presenting pricing instead of configuring pricing, we have the ability to gauge where they're at emotionally about the price. Because if I finish my quick measurement and say, okay, it's going to be 12.9, and I go through my process, right? You can do it right on Dripjobs. You could show them the price right there. It's awesome on an iPad, right? So you can go there and you could be like, okay, well, it's 12.9. You see them go like this, like they wince. You say, well, just curious, what were you thinking? Oh, well, Tyler, to be honest, we wanted to be at around 10. This happens. And guess what? You were willing to sell it for 9.5. You say, well, I'll tell you what, if you allow me to earn your business today, I'll do it for 10. And you just want a job. So I know, like you told me you want to do in-person pricing, but was that did I give you some clarity on like, how the pricing works?
Yeah.
The way I do it? Was that helpful?
Oh, absolutely. And just because like, I mean, if my not profit margin, but if my sales ratio is high, like I feel like it's high.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's nothing wrong with that at all. But I do think that I got to present on the spot to really capitalize on that situation. So that's huge,
Yeah. Yeah. I think
and even what you did, you still came out with an extra, 10% or something or whatever, a higher profit margin than what I was thinking of selling it
That's
for.
what I'm
So that's
saying.
huge. That's huge.
We're gonna arrive at a number. And the interesting thing about this business is that everyone quotes differently. So there's no standard of which consumers are basing pricing off of. Kind of like if you went and brought your car to a mechanic, there's a standard of how long it takes to do an oil change or how long it takes to, repair power steering. With our industry, there's no standard of what things cost. I mean, yeah, there's PCA standards, but again, like pricing is variable of what, you're paying individuals hourly, so like there's a lot here. And I just think that as you progress in your business, don't spend too much time coming up with the price. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, and I have a little calculator that I made that'll actually help you do all those calculations we just did, like within seconds. So I'll send that to you after we're done.
Cool.
Yeah, man. Anything else you want to hit on?
Let's see. Off a hand. Not that
we
I
talked
can
a little
think
bit
of,
about,
sure.
The accountant, the bookkeeper. We talked a little bit about gusto, man. Get these things in the business. I mean, that's important. There's just little tools that I recommend right now for project management. I love Trello. I don't know if you're using Trello, but that's a really good app for project management right now until maybe we build something. But it's great. You can upload your photos, you can create checklists, and this is awesome for the team. I have one of my crews out, and as he goes through each step of our exterior process, our SOP, he checks it off in the checklist. And he's a newer crew, so I'm very heavily aware of what he's doing. So I really like that. Put out the yard sign, go over the scope with the customer, do a walk around of, any issues that, didn't come up in the work order. So like little things like that. So Trello's really good. And then I'm a big fan of Open Phone. Did we talk about that when we did our Dripjobs demo about your business phone and your personal phone?
Yes. So I had implemented it right away. I've got a different business number, but I found it through, I don't know. I don't think I went through that yet. I will when I have someone answering the phone, because that's huge value to be able to go, okay, they're answering it. They're bubbly. They're
and
asking the right questions.
you can always port it over. So that works.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. But I got on that, like those things that you talked about, got it done.
Perfect. Cool, man. Well, I think we about covered it, man. Was this helpful?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I hope you tried that new pricing model and start selling on the spot, man. It'll change the way you do business.
Yeah, and increase that profit margin too.
That's the goal.
There was huge value in what you said there, to come in at that number, go ahead and double it, shoot for the moon. But if that gives you that opportunity there. And I mean, some of the houses that I'm doing right now, they're so freaking high end. I don't think that they would have blinked.
Well, the thing is when you're building out your price and you email it, you start thinking of like what you would pay for it, or if it's too high, and then you start like shaving it down because you want to win the job, and at least I've done that, so for me, it's like, go for the 50, and then at least you can negotiate a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe is really a solid way, you know, to at least get you over the hump. Maybe when you get a salesperson, you do production rates again. But you know, this is an easy way to kind of bullnose through it and start winning more jobs. Cool, man. Tyler, thanks, brother.
Thanks so much, man.
All right. We'll
appreciate
talk
you guys.
Yeah, man.
Thanks.
See you.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to that business breakthrough. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transition this episode to a testimonial. That's right. So one of our awesome Dripjobs users was kind enough to do a short testimonial for us. I asked him some questions that I'm sure a lot of us have about what Dripjobs is it valuable? So if you would like to sit and listen to this, I'd appreciate it. You can sit, hang around, and hear what one of our very happy clients has to say about Dripjobs for his business. What is going on? I'm here with Matthew and Carrie of Purity Painting, and they are in Minnesota, users of Dripjobs. The other day you had a Dripjobs hat on, so you must like it. Ah, you have it right there.
Gotta represent, bro.
I love it. I love it. So what is, you know, first things, you know, I like to frame it like this because I want people that are on the fence to hear it. Like initially, were you on the fence about trying out Dripjobs?
Absolutely. Very much so.
A little skeptical?
Yeah, a little bit, but
what was it that was skeptical? Was it the price? Was it the promise? Was it the goofy guy who talks about it all day?
Well, our first introduction to Dripjobs was in at the PCA Expo.
Yep.
And that's where I was able to meet you and someone who's on your team or works with you. Ran through a demo on his iPad. And what kind of got me was I think there was like a company open for the demo, but he was like, you know what, I'm going to close out of this really quick. I'm going to get into a different browser. And he pulled up his own painting company. And it wasn't yours, it was his own.
Yeah.
And he began to show me how it worked.
Yeah.
And so I immediately got on the horn with Carrie here in Minnesota and said, okay, we've got to check this out because I don't know if I should name names, but we tried a lot of other programs and different things. And some of them were like kind of economy. Some of them were quite spendy, you know, but didn't deliver what we needed at all. And so we tried like 8 different things and then decided to give Dripjobs a whirl. Yeah,
love it. And then the rest is history.
Exactly.
What is it that you like about Dripjobs the most? Like if you had to sum up something, what does it do for you in your business?
I'll go first and then I want to let Carrie answer it because we both use it probably equally as much on multiple devices. And what I like is that, you know, you brought up the cost, like at first, was that kind of something that
sure.
Kind of was maybe going to deter you from trying it out?
Yeah.
I feel like it saves a lot of money because it saves a lot of headache. It just is easy, you know, like made by a painter for painters,
sure.
You know.
Absolutely.
It's just easy to navigate. And even in the few short months since we've been using Dripjobs, I guess it's March, I believe, you've rolled out a ton of new stuff that just makes life even easier. The Google integration, wow. You just talked to us today about kind of a hack for Company Cam, which we also use, which we also signed up for down at PCA Expo. And then you mentioned that you're going to work on something that's even a little bit more direct going forward. And so it just works great for us. It makes things quick and easy, and it's easy to follow. It was hard for me. I'm pretty ADD to always follow up and say, hey, could you give us a review? Or, you know, I just want to let you know that we're on our way to your job. And so on and so.
Love that. Yeah, that's great, man. That's a good answer because it's important. Everybody does business different. And, you know, kind of spearheading this project of Dripjobs, it's like, Man, this is people's businesses, right? Your whole business is on that thing. And what we want to do is just make it to where it's almost like you have an employee full-time, 24/7, just like, hey, here's the information you need at the exact time you need it. Hey, this is the follow-ups that I did today. Hey, we just got a proposal accepted. Hey, enjoy your vacation. I got it from here, right?
Just yesterday, I sent out a few like before bed and
Yeah.
and woke up to a couple of deposits,
Oh, dude, there's nothing better than that, right?
Yeah. And we had apparently hadn't set up like having our clients kind of cover the costs of those transactions, but it's deterred nobody. Everybody wants to pay on a card. It's so easy.
Easy.
It's so much different than
driving to
trying
go get
Square or PayPal or anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's great. And Carrie, you had some thoughts on that?
Yeah, so it has just streamlined our CRM. It is just like taken away so much headache of like, okay, who do we need to go schedule a bid for? Who do we need to actually go to the bid that's already scheduled? Who do we need to follow? It's like, instead of having all these things out there, it's just all right in front of us, which has just been a lifesaver.
I tell people this all the time in the demos. It's like my new line. It's like, listen, Dripjobs is not going to do anything that you're not already doing or trying to do. And it's like all those buckets just represent like where your customers are. Dripjobs is just showing you, and then it gives you some like sense of, do you guys feel like you're a lot more in control like of your business? Like you kind of like see the big picture.
Yes. Yeah, much more in control, and saves us a lot of time
and headache.
A lot of time. Right.
Something as easy as like just clicking into GPS to the address on an estimate, right?
Exactly. Just takes you right there.
Yeah. That's good. So you guys saw the new update. What do you guys think? Has it been helpful?
The new update, like the
Google?
The
new update, like the Google and the different events?
Yeah. There's a lot to it. And even little things like the forms that you can, have on there and you just click and it's already there. Or like we like to give like a little PDF of like, hey, here's some duration exterior satin that we're going to be using, and they kind of get to see that and like what that's like. I just click on it and it's already in there. There's
the template,
that are kind of preloaded, but you can kind of you can crank things out much faster without re-uploading things, uploading
well, then you're gonna love that little company cam thing I did, because when you told us that, I'm like, oh, I gotta show them. I forgot to tell you.
Yeah, no, I saw that on Facebook this morning, and I need to look at it again and give it a whirl.
Yeah. So I think you'll save a lot of time there. But, listen, guys, part of this was just, just saying hello. And I thank you for your time today to do this. And really the goal is to grow Dripjobs and create more cool features. We have a lot that we're working on. Last, I always end it like this. Hey, what's one thing you would tell somebody that's on the fence right now, who's maybe just starting their business or doing it on their own, and just there's a bunch of stuff all over the place? What would you tell them? Give them some advice real quick.
I would say, like, to them, give it a try, because you'll realize within just the first day, it's going to save you so much time.
Yeah. And the time is the most valuable asset we have. So
it sure is. And I would say the same thing. If you're on the fence, just go for it, because it's something that whether you're just starting out and you don't even have like any capital or anything, or you've been doing it for a long time, it's just going to be, it's like having another person working for you and doing so much work for you. It's well worth it. We're excited for anybody else who's going to join. It seems like what's also great, I know you probably got to get off here, but there's a community of drip jobbers, online, and people are sharing things, and it's almost like there's an energy around it,
I agree.
That's just really great. And you guys clearly take pride in what you do and do great work.
I love it. Yeah. It's the culture of Dripjobs. And I think it's, there's a lot of growth minded, motivated people, and they're trying to hit different heights in their business. And you guys know that, if you listen to anything that I put out there, it's legacy. We're trying to build a legacy, trying to build a business that can be scaled, maybe sold, or who knows, but we got to have good software to do that. So you guys are awesome. Thank you for giving me the time today and sharing that. And it really means a lot.
All right. Take care, Tana.